So you've all worked so hard the last couple days at becoming much better simplifiers that what we're going to do today is much of the same thing, except we're going to talk more, we're going to be specific to the tenths and the hundredths column, which is just the first spot and the second spot after the decimal. And we are going to focus on changing fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions. All right, so how can we write a fraction as a decimal? We're going to think about this. Now, there are two pictures here. We can write fractions in two ways. This fraction right here is 3/10. Well, goodness, why is this not true? There we go. In this first picture, they are looking at rows. So there are 10 rows total, and 3 of them are shaded in. But in the second picture, it's the same size, but they're looking at individual boxes. And they're saying 9 out of 100. So 9 out of 100 are shaded. Okay, now let's take a look at how we can show these in tenths and hundreds. I wish that we had time and space to draw pictures for every comparing fraction we do, but we just don't have time for that. So when we read a fraction that looks like this, if there were no picture, we would say this is 3/10. The word name is 3/10. Now, if I wrote that as a decimal, I would write it 0.3. Now, I can certainly put a 0 before it if that helps you. But the 3 is in the 10th spot. That's our first spot after the decimal. Now, the next picture is a little bit different. The next picture is 9/100ths, because the second spot after the decimal is the hundredths. So we can't put our 9 over in the tenths, we have to put it in the hundredths. We can't leave an empty space. That would look funny. So we have to write it like this. Let me do a quick review and see if you guys can show me what you know here. I'm going to write 5 decimals on my smartboard. And if you know how to say them, I want you to raise your hand. And you can pick one and read it to us. Okay, Cole, which one would you like to read? Anyone? Four tenths. Here's our 4. It's in the 10th spot. 4/10. Good work. Anybody else? Emma? 2/10. It's the number 2. It's in the 10th spot. So we're done with that one. Aiden. Here's the number 6. It's in the 100th spot, so we say 6/100ths. Sarah. 21. We can read it as 2 digits together. This is the 100th spot. It ends in the 100th spot, so we say 21/100ths. Natasha. 57/100ths. And Kaden. Good. All right. Good quick review here. Let's move back to our lesson. How would we say this decimal? Sky? How do we say this? 1. What spot is it in? Say it again. Not the 1/10. Good work. How about this one? Kaylin? 2/100ths. Now we're going to go backwards. Now I want you to tell me what I should write to change this fraction into a decimal. Alan? 0.9 or 0.90. Now, if we put a 90 there, it would be 90/100ths, which is the same thing. You're right. But we would want it to be 0.9 because then it's 9/10ths. Moving on, the next one. How would we write that one as a decimal? Caden? 0.07. The 7 is in the 100th spot. Good work. Oh, a little bit tougher. We need to change 11/20ths into a decimal. Oh, we can't just look at it and know, can we? But we can make it a new fraction, and that new fraction can either have a 10 as a denominator or a 100 as a denominator. Which one would you guys like to go with? Okay? Let's try it and see if it'll work. How do we get from 20 to 10? Divide by 2. Can I do that up here? Oh, then I guess that's not a good choice. Instead, let's go with 100. How'd I get from 20 to 100? Times 5. Can I do that to the top? How would I write that as a decimal? Cole? So this equals this, and it equals this. I wish that this was easier for you to see, but you're probably going to just simply have to strain today, okay? We're going to start with number 12. Number 12 says 3.2. So we're going to write 3.2 not as a decimal like it is, but we're going to write it as a mixed number where there's a big number and then a fraction with it. What would our big number be? Darius? 3.2. What would the big number be? 3. Yeah. Big number 3. Now what's the fraction that goes with it? It says 3.2. 3 and 2/10. That's what this is. 3.2 is 3 and 2/10. Is that in simplest form? No. What could we reduce it to? 3 and 1/5. I'm just going to put a little mark through it so we know that one wasn't in simplest form. How about the next one? 0.7. How would I write that as a decimal? Or excuse me, as a fraction? Emma? Is it in the 100th spot? 7/10. Is that in simplest form? It is. Yep, we don't have to reduce that one. How about the next one? 0.23. It ends in the second spot. Remember, what's the second spot? Aaron? 23/100ths. 23 over 100. Can we simplify that? 23 is a prime number, so no, we can't. How about the next one? 9.75. So 9 and 75/100ths. How would we write that? Big number? Fraction? Over 100. Is that in simplest form? What could we divide both of those by? 25. So it would be, can you do this in your head? That's right. Think of money, guys. 75 cents out of $1 is what? 3/4 of $1. Yeah. So that wasn't in simplest form. I'm just going to put a mark through that one. Let's move on to number 16. 7.7. How would we write that? Aaron? 7 and 7/10. Good work. How about the next one? 2.4. America? 4/10. Is that in simplest form? No. Does anybody know what it is? 2/5. Good work. How about the next one? 0.81. Alan? 81 over 100. Is that in simplest form? It is. The only numbers that'll go into 81 other than 1 in itself would be 9s and 3s. 3s would work also, I guess. But those won't work for 100. How about the next one? 2.43. Natasha? 2 and 43 hundredths. Good job. Is that in simplest form? 43 is a prime number. We're going to move on. Now we're going to do the opposite. Okay? So we have a big number 2 and 1/100th. How would we write that as a decimal? Emma? Point. Thank you. 2.01. The 1 needs to be in the 100th spot. Good work, Emma. How about the next one? Kaden? 9.3. The 3 is in the 10th spot. How about the next one? Natasha? 0.9. Now, it's okay if you put a 0 before it. That's optional to you. How about number 23? Cole? Yep, because it ends in the 2nd spot, which is our 100th spot. Next one, number 24. Aaron Lingen, 6 and 31 over 100. Good job. How about 4 and 1/10? Will? That's it. That's right, because the 1 is in the 10th spot. You surprised yourself, didn't you? How about Brendan? 4/10. Can you see this one? I know it's tough to see. 4 over 10. I wish I could make it bigger. I can't. 9/10 is 0.9. What would 4/10 be? .4. Good job, Brendan. Stay with me now, bud. Sam. 6 and 6/100ths. Big number? Big number is? First number? I should write the number 600? No? What comes before the decimal? You haven't even said a decimal or a point or anything. I can't hear you. I'm sorry. .6? Okay. Is this 6 in the 100th spot? Is that the first spot after the decimal? Is that the 100th spot, Sam? Look at my chart if you can't remember. No. Shouldn't there be something before the decimal? Didn't we have a whole number? Can you tell me what to write now? I cannot hear you. 6.00. We have 6/100ths. This spot right here is our 100th spot. How many hundredths do we have? We have 6 of them. So it's 6.06, just like that. Okay, now we're going to move on to the challenging part of the day. This part says we need to change these fractions and make them decimal.